Hello, it's me, Mr. Morris, and I want to talk to you guys about how to write an outline for the paper you're going to make on your argumentative topic. Now, of course, we're doing the election and government, and what I did was I took a previous paper that a student had turned in from another year having to do with Rome, and so I thought we could break that paper down together and kind of show you how it goes here. So the first thing you need to do in writing an argumentative paper is, well, you have to have your thesis. And if you want to write your thesis right here, that would be great. And I'll show you what that looks like on the other paper. But the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is a hook. And a hook is called a grabber, a way of bringing the reader in. So for you guys doing, let's say, term limits is what I talked about. And again, if you remember, my thesis was, and I would have written it right here, term limits in government is a good thing. Maybe my hook is, can you imagine having a job in government and never having to not be at that job, being a senator for 40 years and being in charge of all these decisions? Well, that could be an interesting hook because you're putting the reader in that place and making them think, what would that be like before you actually get to the heart of the matter? And then here, in this first paragraph, known as your thesis paragraph, you're going to write a couple of sentences that kind of let the reader know what's to come. And I always tell my kids, take your 3 support statements, right? So I'm talking about term limits being a good thing, right? Down here in my thesis. Maybe here I would just give kind of a little bit of an information about what those 3 evidence statements are that the rest of my paper is going to be about. Let me show you with the paper I'm going to talk about. This is about Constantine. So Constantine is a paper that was written last year by one of my former students, and I love this. If you look, I broke everything down and I color-coded it because it is, I don't know, I'm a visual person. It's kind of easier, I think. So we start out here with the hook. Imagine being arrested or being killed just because you worshipped a certain type of god. The hook is still going here. There was a Roman emperor named Constantine who was like a superhero and saved the lives of Christians from being killed every single day. So that would be my hook. And you can work that out with Mr. Coldestall, Miss Schleter, Mrs. Dickert-Sturz, or even myself. So let me show you where that would go in the template. On the template, I would put that thesis here. Okay, kind of long in the paper, but you can add to it. Now the next part here, and I color-coded it because I broke it down in a bunch of different ways. The next part would be kind of what the rest of this paper is about. Let's go back and look at Constantine. So in my paper, this is where I talk about my supports. Okay, support 1: Constantine became emperor by fighting wars and his father's death. That would be one of my supports. My second support is Constantine affected Rome in many ways, and he even moved the capital of Rome. And my third support is Constantine affected Christianity and the Christians in a huge way. And then finally, I have my thesis. Constantine greatly affected Christianity and the Roman Empire for the better. Now, these things here, my 3 support statements, are going to prove that. Here's my thesis. Let's take a look at our template. Here in my template, I would put down my 3 supports as best as I can. I would word it as best I can, and then I'd put my thesis. And now, my entire first paragraph would be done with my rough draft. Now it's time to get to what my paper is about, okay? So let's take a look at the second paragraph. Your main point, and let me go back to our Constantine paper. Here's our second paragraph, known as our first body paragraph. I have to prove my support, one of my support evidence. Constantine became emperor of Rome by fighting in wars and his father's death. Okay, so that is the main point. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my citation. Where did I get this from? I got this from Wikipedia. And then I'm going to put my argument. I'm going to put all the information I learned, okay, all my notes and everything I learned right in here as far as my paper is concerned. Let's go back and take a look at my template. So here's my template. My main point: Constantine became the emperor by fighting many battles and fighting after his father's death. I cite my source. I got this information from Wikipedia. And then down here, I'm going to put the evidence. What is my argument? My argument is, here's all the information I learned about what Constantine did to become emperor of Rome. Now we go down to our next. This is our third paragraph, but our second body paragraph. Back to my paper. Okay, I go to my next body paragraph. Constantine affected Rome in many ways. That's my main point. According to this website, here is my citation. And then I give the information I learned. Here's the argument I'm trying to make on how he affected Rome in many ways. He even moved the empire. And then, as you probably figured out, here is my third and last body paragraph, or my fourth paragraph overall. Here is my main point. Constantine affected Christianity in many ways. According to ancient Rome by Rome by Hill Duncan is the name of the person who wrote the book. And then I give, of course, my information. And then I have another, what I'm going to stick in here, Constantine the Great from Wikipedia. So I have two citations in this with information I got from Wikipedia there. I go back to my template. And on my template, here is that fourth overall paragraph, but my third main point, my third body paragraph, with my main point, my evidence, citing my evidence, and then my argument or the information I got from that citation. And then finally, I finish it off with a conclusion. And your conclusion is going to wrap up your entire paper. But your conclusion must agree with all these points, and it must make sure that your thesis statement stays true. Did you prove your thesis statement? Down here in your conclusion, do not give any information that's going to second guess or challenge your thesis. It must all agree to your thesis. And never introduce anything new in your conclusion that you haven't already fleshed out and talked about in your paper above. Let's take a look at Constantine. All right, here's my conclusion. I think Constantine really did a great job helping affect Christianity. Just kind of playing through this here. He stopped the arrests. He stopped people from getting killed. He let people have tolerant religions. He made a new empire in Constantinople dedicated to God. He started to put money into old Rome. He also, right here, it goes on to say that he would take over and become the new leader by fighting after his father's death. Overall, I think Constantine was a great emperor and greatly affected Christianity in Rome. So I basically agreed with everything I've written up above here with nothing new. And this is where you would put this conclusion down here on the bottom. So this is your rough draft. You're going to take this rough draft with your notes and all this information as talked about, and you're going to turn it into that Constantine paper on your own, only with your topic on government and the election. And Mrs. Schlueter and Mrs. Dickenstertz and Mr. Caldestall, myself, will help you do that. But if you get this far, by the third week, you're ready to write your final draft. I'll help you with that too. Thanks again. See you later.